Okay, sig figs when you're multiplying and dividing. I don't even remember how long ago it's been since I did the sig figs when you're adding and subtracting. But I'm sure that I explained to you why you round off past the decimal when you're adding and subtracting. The rules are completely different when you're multiplying and dividing, just like when the rules for actually multiplying and dividing are different than when you add or subtract. So let's visit why the rules for rounding are what they are and why they're different. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did when I did our video for multiplying and dividing. For adding and subtracting. So I'm going to change colors here, and I'm going to use this maroon for the numbers that we know for sure, and then I'm going to use blue for those that are a guess. So here's an example for you. Let's do 7.5, and then our guess number is going to be, let's do this blue right here, 5. That's our guess, okay? And then let's multiply that times 8.4. Okay, we know we right align everything when we multiply. So this is going to be an unsure number. And so then let's do this multiplication. And if we do this multiplication, you're going to see that we have this 5 times 4, and they're both blue. So when we do this, I'm going to end up needing a blue number, because 5 times 4 is 20, and I'm going to carry. Now, 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And since one of these is blue, that means one of them is a guess, or an estimated number. So my number down here also needs to be blue, and it's going to be a 2. And then I'm going to carry my 2 at the top as well, because 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And then 7 times 8 is 28, plus 2 is 30. Yes? But again, since this 4 is in blue, then this is going to be an estimated guess, an estimated number, so I'm going to put 30 also in blue. Alright? Now my next row, I'm going to put a placeholder 0 here. Okay? And then 5 times, that's a terrible looking, I can't leave that like that. Okay. My next number here is this 5 times 8. And if the 5 is blue, 5 times 8 is 40. I'm going to carry my 4. Now I finally get to numbers that are no longer blue. So I'm going to switch back to my for sure color, my maroon. So 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 is 44. And notice I can write that in my maroon color. And I carry that 4. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 4 is 60. And notice both of those are blue. Both of those are my for sure color, my maroon. So this number is also going to be a for sure color. For sure. Yes? So then when I add these together, this ending number down here at the bottom, notice, is going to be in blue. This 2 is going to be in blue. Now I have a blue and a brown, so it's going to be blue. 3 plus 0 is 3, but it needs to also be in blue. And so the only for sure number that I have in this whole mess is this 6. Okay, gimme. Alright, and then I'm going to place my decimal. To place your decimal, you count past the decimal up top. 1, 2, 3. Got 3 numbers past the decimal. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3 numbers past the decimal. So that remembers how many I can have past my decimal in my answer. So my final answer on this whole thing, is 63.420. But what about my sig figs? What about them? I'm only allowed to have I'm only allowed one guess. Look how many guesses I'm showing. How many do I have in blue? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't have 4 guesses. But notice, please, why all these guesses came. It all came because of this 4 right here. This 4 was a guess. And so every time I multiplied that top row, my 7.55 times this 4, every single one of these was also a guess. And that impacted my answer. So now I have to round this answer so that I only have one guess, which means I need to round my answer so that it is only 63. And then my units would be whatever they are. A meter times a meter maybe is going to be a square meter, or maybe it's a meter times a gram, which would be, who knows what their units are. It doesn't matter. But you better put them or it's going to be -1. Okay? So I'm going to say that this was a meter and this was a meter that we multiplied. You understand why? I hope you understand why. Now, you're probably not going to go through this whole thing of, oh, blue, 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 there's a different color, and if you need to, go for it. But this is the why. Now I'm going to tell you the rule. The actual rule says, when you're multiplying or dividing, with sig figs, so that means measurements, whenever you're measuring, okay, and so we're talking sig figs here. You're always going to round the answer to the least number of total sigs. Now notice it says absolutely nothing about the decimal. Nothing about the decimal. I'm going to switch back to this other page. I didn't go by the decimal. When you add or subtract, I'm going to review over that in a second. When you add or subtract, you look past the decimal. Here, this one, this 7.55, had a total of 3 sig figs. This, let me change colors. Really? Okay. This 8.4 here had 2 sigs total. So I needed to round my answer. Obviously 2 is less than 3. So I rounded my answer so that it had 2 sigs. That's what I rounded my answer to, 2 sigs. Whichever one of the has 2. Okay? Now 8.4 is a bigger number. Doesn't matter which number is bigger. It's which one has fewer sig figs in it. That's the rule. That's the rule. Alright? Whichever one has the least number of total sig figs, that's what you round your answer to. With adding and subtracting, I'm going to rehash this again. When you add or subtract, there's the A and the S. You look past the decimal to round. Add or subtract, you look past the decimal and round your answer to the fewest places past the decimal. When you multiply or divide, you don't even look at the decimal. You round it to the fewest total digits. Now, Miss Hawkins has some worksheets for you, and that's what you're going to be working on. And some of them just say which ones have, you don't even have to work them out. It just says how many sig figs would you have in this particular answer? Okay, I'm going to do one super quick example for you. For example, if you had 11.3 times 6, you're only allowed 1 sig in your answer because this has 1 sig. This has 3 sigs. So it doesn't matter what the answer is in this case. I'm just asking you how many sig figs would your answer have. Alright? Now, if we were adding these 11.3 plus 6, notice the difference. Here, we're multiplying. Here, we're adding. Notice the difference. Here, we're going to actually look past the decimal. And so, in this case, we have none past the decimal. Alright, so here our answer is just going to be 1 sig, period. Here our answer is going to end up being 19, period. That's got 2 sigs in it, but no past the decimal. I know it seems picky, but I'm telling you, especially for you that want to go into some medical field, it's big. It's very important. And you will be required to do this in the lab and in your lab notebooks, which is your next lesson. Have a good day. Try hard on this worksheet. I'm going off now to make you a Google quiz.